Fentanyl overdose deaths doubled in 2 years, according to the state health department. And they just gave us preliminary numbers today. For 2021, 803 people have died. Half of all those deaths are tied to fentanyl. CBS 4's Sean Boyd joins us live tonight. Sean, some say Colorado law makes it easy for drug dealers to get away with carrying deadly amounts of it.
Under a state law passed in 2019, possession of 4 grams or less, not just of fentanyl, but heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, all of those are a misdemeanor, even though just 2 milligrams of fentanyl can kill you, and 4 grams is equal to 13,000 deadly doses. Many district attorneys begged lawmakers to carve out fentanyl, but as I reported at the time, they refused, and some police and prosecutors say they are now complicit in the crisis. In 2019, Denver recorded about 200 drug overdose deaths. Last year, that number more than doubled, and Police Chief Paul Pazen says state lawmakers bear some responsibility after making possession of lethal doses of fentanyl a misdemeanor, the idea being to treat instead of jail addicts.
The effort was to try to help people. The effect is that people are dying.
And he says the law makes it difficult to hold killers responsible. Dealers, he says, purposefully carry just under 4 grams to avoid felony charges. And because fentanyl is often mixed with other drugs, Boulder District Attorney Michael Doherty says proving a dealer knew what they were selling is difficult.
Tracing the Xanax upstream to figure out who's responsible for that death is incredibly important. So we need more resources for law enforcement. We need those resources now.
Arrests, prosecution, and incarceration do not save lives.
Tristan Gorman with the Criminal Defense Bar says most dealers are addicts and they don't respond to a war on drugs.
You increase the penalties on fentanyl, you're actually increasing the penalties on any drug containing any amount of fentanyl, whether the user knows that it's in there or not. So we need to be funding harm reduction, prevention, treatment.
Doherty agrees more treatment is needed, but he says so too is more accountability.
But we have to acknowledge that small amounts of fentanyl are killing people. And we have to account for that in the laws and the penalties that we have.
And under the current law, Pazen says there's no incentive for treatment.
You need some form of leverage, some form of consequence in order to get people the help that they need.
Lawmakers do plan to bring a bill to provide more funding for overdose investigations and a public awareness campaign. Speaker Alec Garnett told me he is also working on legislation to increase penalties. Although Representatives Leslie Herod and Shane Sandridge, sponsors of the 2019 law, stand behind it, saying the law doesn't stop DAs from prosecuting dealers, only users. But Doherty, who is charging one dealer with manslaughter, says the guy could get probation. Stiffer penalties, he says, are needed too. And this is going to be a battle down at the State House.
Yeah, at least they're talking about it and facing it, right? Tackling it.
Sort of.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Working on it.